Hi everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another royal news video. So we're going to have a few different royal news stories in the videos because I think it's nice. We get the dose of the real royals and then Meghan and Harry and whatever they've been up to towards the end of the video. So we're going to start today with Mike and Zara Tindall. Whilst they are not working royals, they are still very much part of the royal family and they do so much for charity. They do charity fundraisers every single year. This particular event, held at the Belfry Hotel, is an annual event, a celebrity golf classic hosted by Mike himself to raise money for Parkinson's. As you can see, everybody was in pink, and not only with the celebrities, you also had supportive brother Peter Phillips, and he's also very friendly with Autumn Phillips. He's now divorced. He recently went public with his new girlfriend, an NHS nurse. I love seeing this because it shows, hopefully, obviously depending on what's happened, but people can have an amicable divorce and people can still stay part of the family. It's very obvious that this family is close-knit, and with two young daughters as well, it's so nice that mum and dad can still be friends. Mike and Zara are such a sweet and funny couple as well. They're so affectionate with each other and it's really lovely to see them doing events like this. Lots of people take swipes at them because they're like, oh, they're just using the royal family. Well, Zara is a member of the royal family. She is Princess Anne's daughter. She is the eldest granddaughter of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip. She can't help that. But she is also a very successful Olympic equestrian. And Mike Tindall, well, Mike Tindall was an England rugby player. So those two have earned their own right on the celebrity circuit. And I love the fact that they do use their platform to help raise money to go towards fantastic causes. Now, this wasn't the only event that had several members of the family together. Prince William held his first Buckingham Palace garden party. Unfortunately, they got hit with typical British springtime weather. But of course, we are Brits and we know how to handle a little bit of water. Come rain, come sunshine, we will never let anything rain on our parade. There were so many people that turned out for this event. It was just a sea of brollies, but everybody looked like that they were having a fantastic time. The Prince of Wales had invited lots of family members to attend. We had the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester. We had the York princesses, Beatrice and Eugenie, who both looked absolutely lovely. Some people have been mean and said about Eugenie, where she looks like she's glaring at someone. She has been accused of this a lot. I genuinely think, because I suffer from this myself, she has resting bitch face. This is where if you're not smiling, you can look really grumpy. And when I used to work behind my dad's bar, honestly, the amount of people be like, cheer up, love, it might never have happened. Oh, cool, what's the matter with you? Did someone die? And you're like, no, I just don't walk around with a big grin. But you can see here with Princess Eugenie, when she smiles, she's actually got a very pretty smile. And as for Princess Beatrice, she was definitely a much needed pop of colour amongst the sea of grey and black and moody skies. The eldest of the cousins, Peter Phillips, was also in attendance alongside his sister and his brother-in-law, Zara and Mike Tindall. Now, Zara, she loves pink. This is her colour, and sometimes it's occasionally Mike's colour as well, as we saw with the celebrity golf tournament. But her outfit on this particular event was sublime. I love it. The hat, beautiful. The shoes, stunning. The dress with the little pop of buttons matching in pink. This outfit is by far one of my favourites. She's incredibly stylish. I absolutely love this. But my favourite photograph is this. I said at the time she looks blooming beautiful, and lots of other people have compared it to My Fair Lady. It does look like that Zara is about to burst into song and she's going to be carried up the steps by the men in top hats. Whilst this is a truly stunning photograph of Zara, I will say this is my favourite photograph. From yesterday swooning over Prince William in uniform, him in a top hat. My, can I just say that this man is aging like a fine wine. No wonder Harry is jealous, and at every opportunity he takes a swipe at his brother's looks. It's hardly surprising, is it, that Catherine and William have produced such beautiful looking children. They definitely won the genetic lottery with both parents. But it's not just obviously their looks that make people find them so attractive or likeable. It's also the fact that both Catherine and William are sweet and they are kind and they are lovely to everybody that they meet. Prince William was a real sweetheart, taking the time to meet everybody properly despite the torrential downpour and taking the time to pose for photographs. That lady, honestly, she's so incredibly lucky that she got such a wonderful photograph of the Prince of Wales. But can you imagine getting dressed up going, I'm going to a garden party at Buckingham Palace, I might see Prince William. You do see Prince William, he poses for a photograph with you and you look like a drowned rat, bless her. The way she quickly pulls her hood back, it's like, no, make sure you get a good shot of me as the rain drips down. But what a memory. What a photograph for a keepsake as well. But that's the thing, despite it being gloomy weather, the fact that we did have such a sea of all these black and grey umbrellas, it made all of the colours of their dresses and fascinators pop out all the more, and it did end up looking like the scene of a musical. Now let's move on from musicals and go on over to just pure misery. And this time, shockingly, I'm not starting with Prince Harry. No, this time I'm actually starting with someone who I do not care to mention often, and that is, of course, Harry and Meghan's chief cheerleader and biographer, who has reportedly been hemorrhaging money, and he has had a real hit in the financials. His latest accounts show he only had £359 in capital at the end of June 2023, compared to £35,000 the year before. I guess trashing the royal family, helping to spread Harry and Meghan's version of the truth, and accusing the King and the Princess of Wales of being the royal racist didn't turn out to be as lucrative as I'm sure that he would have liked. I would also imagine that the two female translators that were implied to have planted the royal names into the Dutch version of Endgame due to a translation error might have also found the news somewhat amusing. I honestly still cannot believe that after he allowed those women to have their names dragged in the newspapers, that he didn't publicly apologise. He instead tried to blame it on, oh, I did in fact write the names, but on a copy that should never have been signed off. Conveniently, it made its way to the smallest publishing house, so when the book got pulled, it was the least damaging number of books. My personal beliefs have always been that Omid was told by his paymasters to sneak those names in somewhere. It's about continuing this victim narrative, poor Meghan and Harry, evil and cruel, nasty royal family. All these people that have recently been saying, oh, the royal family need Harry and Meghan back. The royal family should say that Harry should come home. They need him more than ever. Why would you invite a fox back into your chicken shed when he's still picking out the bones from the last chicken he ate? Harry quite clearly is still trying to wage war against his family and publicly. Even at just a matter of days ago, when Harry came over for his quick pit stop before he flew out to Nigeria with Lolo for her to discover her ancestral roots and get as many freebies as she could, Harry, it's been reported, was actually in the UK for 3 days. If you remember, Harry's spokesperson went to the media, who Harry seems to hate and likes to sue at the drop of a hat, to tell them the information that he will not be seeing his father because the King's diary is full. And whilst Harry understands that his father, the King, might be busy, they felt the need to put in the extra bit about the King has other priorities. You could hear the dig. There was no need to add that additional bit on. It was because he was quite clearly making a swipe and using the media to do so. Old hypocrite Harry. But Victoria Ward, who writes for The Telegraph, she has released an article and she said it's simply not true. His Majesty had actually agreed to allow Harry to stay at an undisclosed royal residence. Many believe it would be St James's Palace, which apparently lots of royals, working and non-royals, do use as a bit of a pit stop when they are in London on an ad hoc basis. Plus the fact it's a 2-minute walk to Clarence House, which is the King and Queen Camilla's residence. Whilst the King would have still had a busy diary, it would have enabled him to meet up in between events. But check this. Harry, fresh back from a trip to Nigeria and even going to a part of Nigeria that was deemed so incredibly dangerous, the army had to be called in to protect him, and also going to Jamaica, Harry said that it was too dangerous. He declined the offer because it did not come with full police protection and it would be a visible location with public entrances and exit points. So where did Harry choose to stay instead of a palace residence? A hotel. Make it make sense. How in the hell can a hotel be safer than a palace residence that has security gates all the way around it, that has Scotland Yard armed soldiers, armed police protection? All the way around it. The public cannot just simply swan in and swan out of areas that they are not allowed in. But a hotel is apparently safer for him. Did his security check every single guest that was checked in? Did they clear out an entire floor just for Harry and his ego? Did they check the staff to make sure? We've all seen the films. It could be the butler bringing a tray of room service that could be the one that could do a hit job on Harry. Let's get real. Nobody is interested in hurting Harry. The fact that Harry was in Nigeria, well publicised, even their very well-known terrorist group were not even remotely interested. Now, as the article goes on, it explains that Harry's issue and primary concern is the level of security he's afforded outside of the palace. Oh, that's it. He wants the blues and whistles, the motorbikes, the motorcade to follow him around while he conducts his personal business. Or like when he went to go see the charity Scottish Soldiers. He went there obviously with a photographer, as Harry does, because like Meghan, they need to make sure that every good deed is recorded. Otherwise, how else are they going to make those slick Archwell videos that they like to release to us every so often to show the world that they are just good, kind and compassionate people that only care about a life of service? That's another reason why you will find that Harry turned down staying at the palace residence, because they are not going to check in Netflix crew or whoever else he's got with him. Harry can no longer perhaps be trusted in private residences as well, given the amount of information that he has given out in his book, in interviews, on TV documentaries, and to anyone that will listen, wave in a checkbook. What Harry in effect is doing is using emotional manipulation, emotional blackmail, by saying, if I do not get my full taxpayer-funded IPP status returned to me, then you're never going to see Archie and Lily. I'm never going to be able to come back and we can never really truly mend fences and build bridges. But it's not that narrative I find the most disgusting at this point. We've seen them try and emotionally manipulate the royal family for a number of years now. It's the fact that he's clearly lied. He got his spokesperson to go to the media to put out a statement to convince the public, the worldwide media, that the king was obviously just avoiding his son. He's too busy to see him. Harry was forced to stay in a hotel. And in fact, it couldn't be further from the truth. Harry is using his father's want and need to perhaps see him and spend time with him to put pressure on the king to be able to help with this security. Harry, I believe, had a favour done for him when he rushed back to see his father just in time to go do that interview over in Canada. That was a one-off because the king was desperate to go to Balmoral to start his cancer treatment. It's very clearly obvious that Harry has been turned down to have that sort of escort each time that he has briefly been into the UK, and rightly so. He hasn't grasped that he quit, he left. They told him everything that he would be giving up. Everybody needs to remember the Queen gave them a year to change their minds. They didn't change their minds. They still made demands. The Queen said snip, snip. Then they did Oprah. That's when the stories of racism and abuse then started coming out. Oprah was nothing more than a revenge attack, like children having tantrums because they had their toys taken away. Harry is still using lies, manipulation, and ironically the media that he despises to try and get the public to turn against his family. Speaking of which, Harry's love and then hate, naturally, for the media, he's not had some good news. And I have to say, ha 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 ha. Harry has had some more bad news regarding his lawsuit against the publishers of The Sun. This is the same case the other high-profile client, Hugh Grant, pulled out of, accepted a payment after the financial risks became too great. Well, Harry's not pulling out of it. He's not been offered a payoff, and Harry is so headstrong, he's going full steam ahead with it. David Sherborne, his lawyer, saw him coming, and Harry is probably single-handedly going to pay for that man's retirement pot. Back in March, Harry and his team asked a judge to accept a bunch of new allegations to the court case, dating back to 1994 regarding his mother when Harry was just 9 years old. And of course, he had to include Meghan, who was apparently targeted in 2016. Denied. They also asked to add several names of high-profile people that he wants brought to justice, such as Rupert Murdoch, Rebecca Brooks, and I can't help but feel that old Piers Morgan was probably in that list as well. Also denied, because as Justice Faircourt said, there is a desire to shoot at trophy targets. It's about gaining publicity to allegations against the NGN executives. The allegations add nothing material to the claims. I'm in no doubt that in a few months, Harry's lawyers will be presenting another dossier to the court saying, oh, we found new things we'd like to add in. We'd like to go after this person because he said hurty words about my wife. Watch out, Jeremy Clarkson. You might find yourself on that list. But with the potential of losing millions, enough to make A-list Hollywood star Hugh Grant pull out, Harry is indeed playing a very risky game. It's clearly obvious that their deals are drying up. People are no longer falling for their spiel. They have been labelled lazy grifters across Hollywood by multiple people, that they don't have any talent. They just seem to take the check and then not do any work. And with Meghan's 20 Jan jars, which are still missing, it seems that no one is really going to be buying into Aro anytime soon. Reports of her new cooking show being that it's basic, boring and wooden, and the fact that Netflix is clearly growing tired of being roasted at every celebrity event because they've paid millions for a couple to produce absolute zip. It didn't come as that much of a surprise to see that they have been out wining and dining with the Paramount boss and his wife, Brian and Tracy Robbins. After barely looking at each other at the Bob Marley film premiere in Jamaica earlier in the year, the couple are apparently now such good friends that they decided to share their wedding anniversary out together as a group date. The magazines keep calling it a date. I don't know about you, unless you've got obviously one of those sort of relationships. Date night generally consists of you and your partner. I guess Jan Jar number 17 must have really sealed the deal for them. But what with Paramount's uncertain future hanging in the balance at the moment with talks of mergers, perhaps hanging out with the toxic twosome, famous for their reverse Midas touch, might not be the best look, and it could explain why they didn't look exactly too happy to be photographed by the paparazzi. I can only imagine who it was that called them and told them of their location. But if Brian wants to save Paramount, or in fact get involved with a decent merger, I've got a great money spinner for him. He should be buying up the new German documentary, which is apparently coming out later this year, which is another exposé on the ex-royal couple by journalist and royal commentator Ulrike Grunewald. She has been over in Montecito for months with teams of staff that have been interviewing lots of people. She will be looking into Meghan's partying lifestyle before she met Harry, also her marriage and the way that she behaved when she was with Trevor Ingleston. And it's also reported that they will be looking into what the couple actually get up to whilst they are in Montecito. Any documentary that is about Harry and Meghan that is coming out that they have got no creative control over, they have got nothing to do with it, and it's reportedly leaving them in a state of panic, I would say is a good investment. So guys, that's the end of the video. Tell me your thoughts and I will be back with you soon. Take care for now. Bye.